Hi guys, today I have the special video for the people who are developer and doing the coding from very early stage, but they are facing the problem with the SEPA direct debit integration. So today I will be giving you all the things in a ready-made way, and you only need to copy and paste, and then definitely you will able to do the stuff by your own without hiring a developer. So basically, I am talking about SEPA direct debit. So SEPA is single euro payment area. So what does it mean? So this is actually the payment method that is provided by Stripe itself, and they are giving this payment method to do the transaction by IBAN number. So what does IBAN stands for? So International Bank Account Number. So if some customers has the IBAN number, then they can definitely do the transaction by the payment method which we will be integrating in this video. So I have already implemented the code, so I will be sharing the code with you so that you do the implementation in the technology which you are already interested in. For example, you can do that in PHP, you do that in JavaScript, I mean Node.js, Python, and there are a lot of other options Stripe has already provided. So in this video, I'm only going to show you that what is the whole process and how you can do the implementation by your own by using the code which I have uploaded onto my GitHub account. So you only need to copy the code from there and just run into your local system, and from there you get to know that how the whole coding is going to be executed. So the first thing that you have to keep in mind is that you have to create a Stripe account, and that I have already mentioned. I will be adding the link below in the description that how you can create the Stripe account, and then you need to activate the SEPA direct debit payment method from your Stripe dashboard, and then after you can start doing the integration by the code which I have already provided on the GitHub, which you can download and implement into your website. So there are a lot of things that I need to explain to you related to SEPA direct debit. So the first thing that I mentioned you is that you need to do the activation of SEPA direct debit payment method from your Stripe account. And then after, you have the other thing to keep in mind, which is like do the database operations. And for that, you have to create a table into your database. And then after, you do the stuff by doing the insertion and deletion, and maybe any other updation of the status of the transactions, which you will be doing whenever you are trying to implement the code. So for example, you have a customer who is interested to do the integration. So at the time you are implementing the code, I have already added one file in which I have mentioned the code for doing the database operations, and you should use that database operation code into your local system, and definitely you will end up with creating such tables which will be handling all the type of transaction ID, date of transaction, total amount, and all the stuff which is important for your database. I mean, important to get to know that how the transaction has been done, and the whole history of the transaction would be stored into your database. So this is one thing. Another thing is that you have the option of webhook. So what does webhook means? For example, you have done the integration of SEPA direct debit, and you maybe have seen that in the credit card implementation, credit debit card integration in the Stripe, the transaction process is immediately done. I mean, once your payment is going to be successful, then the status of your payment would be updated from pending to successful immediately. But in SEPA direct debit, there is the problem. What's the problem actually? When you doing the transaction, maybe that is a test transaction or maybe the genuine transaction, so at that moment it takes time from updating from pending status to the successful status. So you have to wait for some time. So that means if you are waiting, so at the end, for example, after 5 minutes of your transaction, if the status changed from pending to successful, then how you will be handling the code? You must have that type of file which is helping you to handle all the stuff related to the updation of that pending status to successful. So whenever you will be implementing the code at the first time, then for the first transaction you will be getting the status of pending, and when the status would be modified on the Stripe dashboard, then you will have to update that status from pending to successful. So how you will be doing that stuff. Stripe is actually providing you some events. So they are firing some events once anything is updated onto their database, onto their dashboards. So you have to activate those events from the Stripe dashboard using the webhook. And webhook is actually the simple URL in which you are adding actually the specific file in which you have written the code to handle that updated status of the payment, or maybe any other thing that you are interested to analyze. For example, payment has been failed, for example, payment has been succeeded, or there is any other error you wanted to detect. So at that moment you will have a specific URL which you will be adding on to the dashboard of the Stripe, and on the Stripe you will have an input box where you will be adding that link, and then after you will be clicking on the submit, and you will be getting a webhook ID which you will be adding onto your code of the SEPA direct debit integration. And in that code, whenever your code is onto the server and SEPA is firing any type of event of the status successful or any other status, then automatically that specific URL would be executed. So in that URL, of course, you will have implemented any type of file in which you have written the code onto the server. So once that file would be executed, so the code inside would be executed as well. So at that moment you will be checking all the code which would be sent from the Stripe itself, and you will be analyzing the status of the Stripe, that what's the status of the payment, and accordingly you will have some switch case statements, and you will be handling the code step by step. So you will have that type of status, and you will be doing the you will be doing the database query using the SQL command that is called as update query, and using that query you will be updating the database of your server, of your transaction. For example, you have done the transaction before and you have the status with pending, and now when the event would be fired, then the code would be executed, and then after your database would be updated from pending to successful. So this is the important thing that is that in most of the cases people don't able to understand. So you have to implement this one. I have already implemented. You just copy the code and use that code into your website. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is that, for say example, your client has the need of integrating the SEPA direct debit with recurring payment. So what does recurring payment means? Recurring payment means you are going to reuse the IBAN number. For example, you have done the transaction from your customer, and you are interested to do the transaction once again. If your customer has implemented, if the customer has purchased the product which is going to be based on the subscription, on monthly basis or maybe on yearly basis, you are going to deduct some amount from his or her bank. So at that moment, what you will be doing is you will have to store some information which will be helping you to do the transaction once again. And nowadays there are some 3D secure transactions. So in that way you will also have some information to send to your customer, and he will be giving you the authority for doing the transaction of specific amount from his or her bank, and then after your code would be executed successfully. But still, I have already implemented the code, so you should go to the URL which I have added below in the description, and once you are clicking that code, then you will be getting the link where I have added some folders of recurring payment. So once you are clicking on that, you will be getting the code which I have implemented for recurring payment. So using that recurring payment, you are going to reuse the IBAN number of your customer, and that is of course possible. And if you are facing any problem, you can connect me below in the description. I have added my contact details, and even you can also do the comment in the comment section. So I will be happy to answer you for your problems, whichever you will be facing. So these were the three things that I had to mention to you. Other than that, it takes time to do, for the activation of your SEPA direct debit payment method, because in most of the cases Stripe is not allowing you to do the transaction with this payment method because this is little risky. Why? Because you are going to do the transaction immediately from the customer's bank to your own bank. So this is the direct process. In the same way like you are doing some wire transfer payment method. All right. So because of which the amount would be deducted from the customer's bank, and you will be getting that amount into your bank immediately. That's why the Stripe thinks that this is a little bit risky. So they are trying to handle such type of situations. And for that, they are doing some verifications. For example, you have a website and you have already written all the policies, all the products which you are going to sell to your customers. So everything would be confirmed first by the Stripe team, and then after your SEPA direct debit would be activated. And for example, you are not getting the way to do the activation. So once you are landing to the dashboard of the Stripe, then what you have to do is on the top there would be a search box. You have to click on that search box, and then after you should type Stripe SEPA direct debit. And once you are entering this keyword, then you will be getting some suggestions in which there would be written SEPA direct debit. You should click on that, and you will be getting a lot of payment methods down below. And whichever payment method you are interested to activate, you can click on the activate button, and within few minutes you will be getting a notification in your email address, which is already registered with your Stripe account, that your specific payment method has been activated. Actually, some payment methods are activated immediately, like SoFort and Ideal, and there are a lot of others. But still, if your payment methods are not activated, so that means it needs some time, and they will be giving you some status like the payment method is pending to activate. All right. So in most of the cases, you also have to give there is a specific number identifier. So that is identifier is an important thing that you have to add on the input box. So in that way, your SEPA direct debit would be activated. You have to add the identifier. That is actually the secret number. So you have to mention that, and then after your SEPA direct debit would be activated. All right. So once that is going to be activated successfully, then you are going to do the transactions successfully. And I have also added the link below in the description of my past video, in which I have already explained that how you can implement the code. So I have already given the demo, and in that demo you will be getting some a user interface. Actually, I have implemented the whole bunch of code in which I did the designing and also did the development. So you should go through the code, and you will be getting everything in ready-made. So you should just pick the code, copy and paste, and then after you will be getting the user interface. And I have also mentioned in the that specific page, you will be getting some test IBAN numbers. So using which you can check that your test transactions are going to be successful or not. And for that test transactions, you also have to use your secret key as well as the publishable key of your test mode. And you should copy that and paste it onto the code. And then after, you will be easily able to do some test transactions. And for that, you have to add the test IBAN number. And if that test IBAN number which you will be adding over there would not be would not be correct, or you can call it incorrect, so that means you will be getting some error. So you have to check that error, and if you are getting that error, that means you are not properly inputting that specific IBAN number which is required. And you should I have mentioned the list of those IBAN numbers, and you should use any of them. You should do the transactions, and immediately you should confirm those transactions from your Stripe dashboard, and from the dashboard you will be getting all the information of your transaction. For example, the status of your payment gateway payment transaction which you have done just before in your test mode. So you will be getting all the information of your customers, you will be getting all the information related to your transaction, you will be getting the JSON as well, and in that JSON you will be getting the payment method, total amount, and all the stuff which you will be having. And one more important thing is that in that code I have actually uh, added the static amount, so you can make it dynamic because I have implemented that in the PHP code. So you can just use that specific code, and you will be getting I mean, if you are expert in any specific server side language, then definitely you will have to handle that static amount to the dynamic amount. So you should pass that dynamic amount, and then after the transactions would be done, and in that way you can implement the code easily. If you are still facing any type of issue, you can just do the comment in the comment section, and I will be trying to help you out wherever you will be having any problem. So if you are implementing the credit card, so nowadays the Stripe has updated the policies, actually. So in that policies you have the compulsory to follow the rules and regulations of the Stripe. And what are those rules is like SEPA has made it secure authentication. Secure authentication means SCA, secure customer authentication. So using that, the customer will be getting the prompt, and in that prompt you will have to fill the OTP. For example, your customer has already connected the Stripe account with for example, bank account with the mobile phone. So at that moment that customer would be verifying that specific OTP, and then after the transaction would be completed. So for example, you have to upgrade your credit debit card integration of the Stripe. So I have already created a lot of videos on that, so you should go through the YouTube channel, and definitely you will be getting in the Stripe playlist of my videos, you will be getting a lot of videos on that, and you should use that code. And because of which actually there are a lot of people who are already interested to do such type of integrations, because in some banks actually they have made it compulsory to use the 3D authentication. Why? Because there are a lot of scams around the world. People are doing the scams, getting the amount without the permission of the customer. So because of which, for example, I have already given you the example that if you are using IBAN number, and if you are reusing that IBAN number, and if the customer's bank is not 3D authenticated, that means the amount would be deducted without the permission of the customer. So this is important for the bank to make it 3D compulsory. Why? Because in that way the amount would be secure, and there would not be any type of scam on the way, and the customer's amount would be safe. So Stripe is also updating the policies and just trying to aware all the customers so that they are not coming into the scams, because there are, in a lot of the cases you will have found that people are using the credit cards and other bank information of the other customers, and they are doing the fake transactions. And you already know that if someone is doing the fake transactions, so of course the customer has not any type of security. So how the customers would be getting such type of securities when their banks are providing such type of feature, like adding the mobile phone, and because of which the customers are getting the OTP, and using that OTP the transactions would be going to succeeded. So in that way the amount would be transacted by the permission of the customers. Otherwise, the people who are having the transaction for the first time from their website, they will be storing their information onto the database, and definitely they will be reusing. And in a lot of the cases, if there are some big companies and if they are doing such type of scams, and anyhow, if police or any authority get to know that this is the scam which this specific company is doing, so at that point of time, cyber crime will be taking the action on that organization. But that is very rare. You already know that on this internet world, there are a lot of people who are not having such type of fears, and they are using those accounts over and over again. I already got a lot of information related to this. There are a lot of people who are also convincing me that I should work with them. I should do the integration of 2D authentication, where there would not be any type of security code asked while doing the transaction. So in that way, there are bigger scams. There are people who are having, for example, 1,000 credit cards, and you already know that if you have 1,000 credit cards, and because of which you are doing the Stripe transactions from your, for example, you have an e-commerce website, and in that you are creating dummy products, and you have somehow activated the Stripe account, and you are trying to buy the product, and at the end you are getting the amount into your Stripe account, and from there you are going to withdraw from into your bank. So you already know that if there are a lot of credit cards, then you are going to be rich overnight. So this is the reason that banks are trying to update the OTP, I mean SCA feature to their for their customers, and because of which the customers are becoming more secure from their amounts. And you also keep in mind that, for example, you are adding your credit card details on any of the website. So first of all, you should think about that specific website is trusted. First of all, you also have to keep in mind that at that point of time, you should confirm that if there are other alternate payment methods for doing the transactions, then you should go for that. For example, UPI. So this is little secure, or maybe Google Pay. So these are secure. We can trust on them. But if there are others where they are asking for credit card, so make sure that if the website is not trusted, then you should not go for that. All right. And so one more important thing that I have to share with you is that I don't have the credit card. Whenever I do the transaction, I use my debit card and the UPI or maybe other payment methods. Why? Because credit card is not secure, because in most of the cases they are just authenticating your credit card details by doing the transaction of 5 rupees, $5 or $1, and then after they are going to do the transaction later on without your presence, and at the end you are going to get the bill of your credit card end of the month, and you already know that you cannot get to know where the amount is going. If, for example, you have a bigger amount, then at that moment you will not able to analyze that who has done the transaction. All right, you will be paying the bills, and you may not have such type of security to identify the scammers. All right. Yes, you can. If you have a bank account, then you can definitely use. You can get the debit card from your bank, or maybe if the bank is not allowing, then you should take the help of your parents, because this is really insecure. I have found on internet world that there are a lot of people who are suffering from this problem. They are getting the bigger bills, and at the end they are losing money, a lot of money actually. So this was the information that I had to share with you. So in the coming videos, I will be uploading a lot of content on this YouTube channel. So subscribe this channel if you are new on this, and like this video as well. And if you have any suggestion, if you are interested to learn about any payment gateway, you should ask me the question. I will be definitely trying my best to upload such type of videos in which you are facing any type of problem. And if you are starting your online business and you are thinking that you have any problem with that related to payment gateways, related to websites, so you should share your thoughts with me. I will be trying to upload such type of useful videos, because I am the developer and full-time freelancer. I have my own businesses, but I really think that my teacher, my mentor has said to me that you should help the others for free. So this is the important aspect, because of which I thought that in this year 2021, I will be uploading a lot of content on my YouTube channel. Whatever I learned so far, I will be uploading the content, and in that way, definitely I will be helping to a lot of people on internet community. All right. So make sure that if you have any question, you should ask me. And if you have any suggestion, if you are thinking that my video is not clear, or maybe you have any issue in the voice, so you should tell me so that I do some improvement. And unlimited transaction debit card possible? No, actually. For example, you have a debit card. They have the limit of, for example, if you are living in India, they have for 40,000 per day. Per day, you can do the transaction, and if you want more, then you can do on the next day. So this is the limitation. Actually, should be the limitation, because for example, if someone is if you lose your debit card and OTP, I mean PIN number, so at that moment you will definitely have the problem. So the amount would not be lost much. So this is the good facility from from the bank actually. So thank you so much for watching this video. So in the coming videos, I will be coming up with the new and wonderful concepts for you. And if you are thinking that this video is useful for you, just press the like button, and also subscribe this YouTube channel if you are new on this. And thank you so much for watching this. See you in the next video tomorrow. One question I got: how much big transfer in debit card? Actually, I mentioned you that on the debit card, you can do the transaction according to the limit added by your bank. In my debit card, for example, the bank has added the limit of 40,000 per day. So, or maybe maximum of 50,000. So in one day, I can do the transaction of 50,000. And on the next day, I can do the more transaction. That would be, of course, 50,000 again. So this is the limitation from the bank itself. So maybe there are other banks, so you should confirm from them that what they are saying to you. So once again, you should implement the code which I have added below in the description. I have added one more website, keiwrds.com. This is the new website which I developed for you guys. That is free of cost. I have implemented a lot of APIs to get the SEO of your website. So if you are doing your SEO for free, you will be getting a lot of good keyword suggestions for free onto this specific website. I have developed a lot of tools, and using those tools, you can get the help for while doing the SEOs. And there are a couple of other tools which are also helping you to review your website and all. So you should you should go through that website which I have added below in the description. So okay, no problem. So okay, I cleared all the questions which I got from in the comment section. So once again, thank you so much. Bye.